Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Sibme Coach Replay Show. I'm your host, Cory Camp, and today I'm bringing you one of our exciting new additions to the series, a micro episode. This episode is going to be short and sweet and focus on a single topic. So what is it? Well, it's setting up your online coaching space. I've been talking with a lot of our coaches and a lot of my colleagues and peers in the coaching world, and they're all talking about how they want to maintain a virtual element or office space to what they're doing. And this is so much more than just having a digital Bitmoji office space. You can really do a lot of interactive things, create spaces where you and your supports are so much more accessible to the people that you're working with. So I'm going to give you 4 tips for building trust in online environments. And then I'm going to show you some examples of some ways that you can begin to implement those in your coaching spaces. So whether your coaching space is a newsletter that you're putting out to your teachers, or it is something like what I use, a Sibme huddle, to have a one-on-one space with the teachers that you're working with for sharing resources, artifacts, conducting observations, whatever that space may be. Maybe it's a Flipgrid account. I want you to think about a couple of these tips. And those are that you need to remember about psychological safety. Psychological safety is the individual's own sense of feeling safe and belonging to that environment with the people that are engaging in that environment. So I want to make sure that I do things like I put a face to the name. My camera is on if I'm meeting in an online method with the people that I'm working with, whether it's a team or individuals. But I'm also creating really clean, clear, predictable lines of communication. I'm remembering that we are more than just our jobs and trying to make sure I make personal connections with those that I'm working with, in addition to sharing things around instructional supports and the more academic and rigorous things that we do. Psychological safety, again, is compounded by not just something that you say, you can feel safe here, but it really is compounded by those actions. I got to believe that what I say and share with you or the team is going to be not only held in confidence, but it's also going to be heard without judgment. That I am going to be supported, even if I say an idea that seems silly or naive or outlandish or wrong. It is okay for me to come here and authentically be myself, share my ideas. And so you can do that in online spaces. If we saw anything last year, where we really did see that we can still have connections and proximity to people, even when we are doing so remotely. So what can this begin to look like? Well, one of the things that I do to start to begin to establish psychological safety, to introduce a little bit of this idea that we're so much more than our jobs. We are humans and people with everyday lives and interests and hobbies, is when I set up my online coaching space, which is a coaching huddle in my Sibme account. I start by creating a welcome video. So here I'm working with Brooke this year again, and I've got a welcome back Brooke video for her where I'm just saying, hey girl, and showing her, just telling her just about a few things that I did over the summer, some of my own personal goals that I'm going to be doing this year, and talking with her about how I see us working together this year. And then I ask her to also upload a quick video, either giving me a tour of her classroom this year or telling me a little bit about what her own personal goals are and what she did over the summer. So before I even step foot in her classroom, if I'm going to be seeing her in person, with Brooke, I'm going to be working fully virtually, but I've had this chance to start to connect with her on an individual basis. Same goes with the huddle I've set up for Kim. So Kim is brand new. I've not coached Kim before. And so I'm welcoming her, telling her a little about who I am as a person, as a mom, as an educator, outside of education, and then also around my coaching philosophy and how I hope for us to work together. In addition to having my welcome video here, I'm also using the discussion space to start a conversation that will define our coaching, which is really important for Kim and I as we begin to get to know each other. Now, I pulled these questions from our Sibme mission. Let me get this straight. I copied it straight from the mission document. There's tons of great resources in the Sibme missions deck if you've got access to that. If you need access to it, we'll drop the link below. And then last but not least, around this idea of defining our coaching and a little sneak peek into next week's episode is I would put in a coaching menu, some kind of form or question for them to fill out. Stephanie Affinito has a great visual kind of choice board that she uses in her coaching. I know she's talked about that before on our Coach Replay show. And next week, I've got Kenny McKee coming in to share his digital coaching menu and why we need one. He's got a great example that he shares in his blog that he'll be sharing with us to next week. And so this is another way for us to be able to kind of define our role a little bit, but also start to do some interest inventories around what our teachers are needing, what they're interested in for this year. Now, I choose a Sibme huddle as my online coaching space because I want a one-on-one space to be able to share resources with the individuals and teams that I'm working with. But again, your online coaching space might be a SMORE newsletter or a web page, a Google site, something that you've created. But I think it's important that you show your face, you have a welcome video telling people a little bit about who you are and what you're passionate about, and how they can connect with you, how they can reach out for support, where they're going to be able to find on-demand support that you might be creating or curating for them. So that way they can keep coming back to that online coaching space over and over again. If you got an idea for what you would add into your online coaching space, I invite you to share that in the comments below. And be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to the Coach Replay Show so you never miss an episode. See you all next week with Kenny McKee as we talk about digital coaching menus. Bye, everyone.